Hello, I'm Paul Charles Bound and this is Crystalline Universe. Thanks for watching. Today I'm going to talk about spiritualism, ghosts and Deja vu, reincarnation, and I hope you find this interesting. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe and click on that bell so you don't miss out any future content. When our soul leaves the body but not ready to leave the earth plane, the spirit can choose to remain with loved ones and try to comfort them and stay at the place where they have left their human body, or roam free. This sometimes happens when they realise they have just died, or it will seem like they have just died. But on the earth plane, weeks, months, years or 500 years could go by without the spirit realising. So what if you liked your body and life so much and you know that you have died, but not yet ready to go away from your body, so choose to hang around the grave it's buried in, if cremation wasn't the finish line. Are graveyards haunted by the ghosts who are buried there? Not so many as you would think, but yes. Since the astral plane has no relevance of time, which is only an earth plane thing, they could be hanging around for what we would call very long time, and then eventually they will be rescued by angels who visit and suggest it's time to move on. But many times that kind of help can be refused, but that's okay because everything eventually falls into place and they will return to heaven. So invisible or be seen, I believe it's a matter of vibrations and can take a lot of energy for a spirit to show itself, especially as the shape of when it was human and the clothes it wore. Sometimes it does this intentionally and sometimes unintentionally, but just being your natural self, a being of light in the shape of an orb, is much easier. Being able to move objects, again, it's a matter of vibration, an emotional state that the spirit is in. Sometimes a spirit can get fed up with being ignored and gets angry enough to raise the vibrations and move physical objects, or happy enough to do the same. Let's not forget that when we leave our bodies, we take with us our sense of humour and mischievous side. Communication with the ghost is also a matter of vibrations. To meditate a lot makes it easier. Although some people have the unique ability to just talk and listen, being a natural clairaudient, for example. Others use spirit boxes that use radio waves and sometimes pick up on EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. Automatic writing, when a person is not totally conscious, a spirit can take control of a pen and do the writing using your unconsciousness. Not so easy to do, but sometimes takes a lot of meditation. Possession. Those who channel spirit are very gifted and enjoy doing it voluntarily. There are those who can relax enough to make room for a spirit to use their bodies. I have seen people do this, and yes, facial expressions change and you can recognise someone who has decided to visit. Also, voices change too. Involuntary possession is not always evil, as evil doesn't exist. Rather, it's just a naughty spirit, not a beast from hell, as hell is not a real place. An all-loving and forgiving God would not create such a place. Ghosts. What I believe is that ghosts are real. I have seen one apparition throughout my life. What I saw was that it was the shape of a human, but shadow-like, that I could see through. I was at a friend's house years ago. Her 3-year-old son was playing in front of the TV. The cat was sleeping on a chair opposite me. Suddenly her son stood up saying hello to someone. I initially couldn't see, then I noticed the cat, wide-eyed, watching something walk across the room. That's the point when I saw the shadow of a man walk out of the room. I chased him, wanting to communicate, but he was gone. Then I told my friend, who was in the kitchen, and she said that she had seen him before. But over the years I have seen orbs and other light shapes. At a spiritualist church meeting one day, I saw the spirit guide standing behind the right shoulder of the man in the podium. Just then, the man giving a speech pointed out that his guide was in fact standing at that place I saw him. I took that as confirmation. Another situation was I was invited to meet the parents of a friend, and I walked through the front door entrance. I felt that there was a pressure on the house. When I walked into the living room, I saw it, I felt it, a swirling storm, a powerful whirlwind spinning in the middle of the room, sucking every emotional and spiritual atmosphere that was weak enough to let it down into the ground. I was introduced to my friend's mother and we talked. I felt a spirit standing in the kitchen doorway watching me. In my mind's eye, I saw him, described him to my friend and her mother. My friend was only 18 at the time and I was 19. She quickly let out an "Oh my God!" while her mother smiled and said, "That will be my late husband. He committed suicide in this house." I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but with that vortex raging right there, maybe that was why. Although the physical room was calm and my friend and her mother were calm, like they were totally unaware of what was happening, all the while in my mind I had dark entities trying to scare me and drag me into their scary void. It didn't work. They didn't scare me. I was 19. I could only sense things. I didn't know how to close the spinning vortex or how to help the people in the spirit world, especially the man in the kitchen doorway. I couldn't help him go into the light. That came years later. Over the years I attended various open and closed circles and learned more about spiritualism, rescues and various other things. An open circle is where everyone and anyone can come and go as they please, but only 5 to 10 people in the group at once. You sit round in a group, meditate, and the teacher helps you to try things out and guides you through it. A closed circle is the same, but only for the same regular 5 to 10 people. It's closed, so people in the group get used to everyone's energies and helps the understanding of meditation and energies flow better. It's not so easy to join a closed circle. You have to know who runs it and ask if they have any openings. The best place to find out is your local spiritualist church. So deja vu. We've all had those moments where we have recognised the situation, who we're with, what was said and the surroundings. How? Why? Well, here is one possible explanation. It's to do with reincarnation, although it's not to do with a past life, but a future one, which is now your present one. When deciding on our next incarnation, while in spirit, we converse with our spirit guides and elders, and they help us to decide which lessons to learn and how we are going to learn them, either through love and happiness, or pain and hardship, or all. Our guides have all been through it themselves, so they know how your lessons will feel while you're incarnated in your next body and throughout your next life. If you choose a quick lesson and an early death, it's planned. How you die and how much pain, fear and anguish. Your parents will know this before they are born too. 3 or 4 generations will be planning this with you. Everything that happens to them and you and the people around them, and who they affect, who you affect. It's all part of the big plan, maybe 4 generations in advance. Your friends and acquaintances. While the plans are being made, you're shown body types and countries and planets that you can choose from. Every body type, full, disabled, brain functions, and whether or not you're a good person or a bad person. Yes, it's all planned, as not just you, but everyone you will be associated with will all have something to learn from it, no matter how small or big or an incident. So deja vu, you're shown quick snippets of the lives by looking at TV screen type things before you're born, a flash through if you will. I recognise this, I've seen this before, you said that, I've seen what you wearing that, he or she said that, I've seen all this before, this place. So you may recognise small snippets like this occasionally through your life. And past lives. Lots of children talk about a past life memory, and parents have been surprised by the things that they have said and adults usually have those memories after a traumatic experience or near-death experience, or have always remembered ever since birth. The reason we forget about who we are is so we can get on and learn our lessons to full effect. But occasionally it's seen by the spirit guides as the next step in our soul's evolution. We learn about our soul during an incarnation more and more these days. In 1996 I lost my mother to brain cancer. Prior to that I had learned a lot about life, death and a few other things. Yes, I was saddened intensely, but I also knew that it was all part of existence, and so we move along. My mother had a friend back in the day who was a psychic medium. Well, something like that. I met her a couple of times over the years, but one Sunday morning I was laying in bed watching TV when I suddenly had a feeling I need to go over and see her. This was 6 months after my mum's death. I put it off, thinking it was my mum's friend. Why should I go? 2 days later I had that feeling again. I needed to get over to see this lady, and I shrugged it off. Every day for 2 weeks the feeling got stronger and stronger. Finally I gave in. At this point I want to add that my mum had another friend who lived a few doors away from this particular friend I was going to see, so I arrived at the house. And the friend said she wasn't surprised to see me. She said 2 weeks ago Mum's other friend returned from Canada and had brought some personal items of my mother's over, hoping she could send them on. But instead of posting them, she felt that she had to wait. When I showed up, she knew why she had to wait. She also said, "Your mother is here now," laughing. She says she's achieved what she wanted to achieve, is getting you over here. My mother also said she wants my firstborn daughter to have this ring. At that point, I had no children, but I was happy to accept. The ring was part of the personal items that were brought over 2 weeks previous. And what of reincarnation? Reincarnation is real. Past life regression is possible. There are different dimensions of existence that most people can't see as humans, but some people can. There are various ways of doing this. Clairaudient, audio, or just surprise hearing. Sometimes it feels like my own thoughts or imagination, but I express them anyway to whom I am with or in front of. Sometimes I have been 100% right on what I have said. A lot of the time no one can relate. But I don't let that put me off. Reincarnation on the other planets is also a truth. If we see the souls, who we are, and our biological existence as a school for our souls, progression then existence all over space would be real. Clairvoyance, to perceive things or events in the future beyond normal senses. Second sight, ESP, extrasensory perception. Sixth sense, telepathy. Remote viewing. This is the ability to see things with your mind's eye. Could be next door or in another country. One experience of mine is I got a phone call from a friend from South Africa. I was asked if I could find some lost bangles, her mother's. She lived in Austria. My first vision was the outside of the house. I described the house, the porch, the front door, the hall, the pictures on the walls, as if I was walking towards the kitchen. The white intercom on the wall inside the kitchen, which is on the left at the end of the hall, living room on the right, and a spiral staircase going down to the bedrooms that are in the basement. At this point I was told everything is correct. I described the room as I imagined it. A white box on the side of the bedroom, the bangles were behind it. 2 weeks later my friend called back and confirmed everything I described. Mediumship. I have been up on stage in front of audiences using clairaudience to pass messages. I get a thought of a spirit who wants to speak, then sometimes a picture of them in my mind, obviously of how the person or people who would remember them. Then I describe what I am seeing. It feels like my imagination, so my confidence isn't great, but I say it anyway. Then I say the message, which also feels like my imagination, but I say it anyway. Sometimes the person or people can relate and sometimes they can't. And sometimes they can't straight away but can after a few days of thinking about it. Well, thank you for watching my YouTube episode of Ghosts, Deja Vu, Reincarnation, and I hope you found it interesting. Don't forget now to like, leave comments and subscribe. Please click on the bell so you don't miss any future content. Thank you very much for watching. Ciao.